Simple formula for success is to control your impulses and execute on your intentions. Now, this can be a very small thing, and this can also be a bigger thing, right? Controlling your impulses just entails, not taking those actions that are coming from your lower self that are just impulses. It comes from your monkey brain. It comes from your fucking dick, okay? It's like the impulse to procrastinate, to eat bullshit, the impulse to go and, call your ex, the impulse to go jerk off, whatever the fuck you want to say, right? Those are all impulses. And you also have intentions. Now, sometimes people mix those two up, right? And by the way, I'm just going to mention this now. I did not paint my fucking fingernails, all right? People been thinking that. I jam my shit between the door, all right? That's why it's black. I also wouldn't watch someone who painted their fucking fingernails. So I get it. But anyway, your intentions, right, are coming from your higher self, right? It's essentially those ideas that you get, the things that are like, oh, I should do this, right? Oh, I should start this business. Oh, I should go talk to the pretty girl over there, whatever. You want to execute your intentions and you want to control your impulses. And that's going to allow you to stay on a straight line from A to B, from A, your current situation, to B, the goal that you might have. The reason I thought of this topic is because in rare occasion, I'm out there doing the fucking dishes right now, okay? Obviously, that never happens. Usually I have a maid or if a, chef or, it's a girl or it's Uber Eats or whatever. But the reason I shot this video is because I was just chilling and I was about to go to bed here, just finished a call, and I was like, listen, the dishes are here. Tomorrow, my cleaner is coming. In the morning at 9 a.m., all right, I could very easily just have the cleaner go and clean all of these dishes up whilst I try to montage this fucking phone on this damn thing. All right, so I can have this cleaner just take care of it. And so I can leave the dishes now and I can go to bed a little bit earlier and, it's going to be fine because the cleaner is going to come tomorrow, right? Well, that's the thought that I had in my mind. And to be fair, that's kind of fair enough, isn't it? Right? Because it's like, cleaner's coming tomorrow. It doesn't matter, right? You can just leave the dishes here right now. Now, then I had this thought of like, okay, I could just do them. I could just bang them out real quick. Now, you might think this sounds like a very superficial and stupid little example and that you're wasting your time, but I'm going to tie this in for you in just a minute here. Because then I was thinking, well, listen, what is the right choice here, okay? And by the way, I understand that this is a very micro example. It's very stupid, but just bear with me. So then I think like, okay, the right choice actually is just to do them because it feels like the right action, because it feels like my higher self, okay? So yes, it wouldn't be a problem just to leave them for the cleaner. Yes, it would be fine, this and that, but what is gonna make me feel like the right person, the person that I'm trying to be, okay? And that I need to be to achieve my goals. Now, the thing is that those dishes, as I said, are obviously a very small, trivial thing, but it does represent a larger concept, right? Where it's like, okay, because this happens all the time, just throughout your day, right? All the time throughout your day, it's like these little actions, and it's decisions, right? Decisions really decide randomly, right? Random decisions throughout the day, they decide if you're gonna be successful or not. And so it all comes down to decisions, but it usually is all of those micro decisions stacked together. People call it death by 1,000 cuts. You make 1,000 very small, low value from your lower self decisions. Like you choose to go and have that drink at night, right? You choose to just snooze, or you choose to just not go to the gym that day, or you choose to just open YouTube real quick before you, this is a big one, right? And a big one that I used to do as well. You choose to just open YouTube real briefly before you get to work, right? When you get to your desk. You choose to, and by the way, if you do that, if you start your day with something, with consuming or watching something, then that puts you in a momentum, right? You got to understand that every single thing puts you in either action-taking momentum, winning momentum, or excuse-making momentum, okay? A friend of mine that used to run like the largest, you guys probably know this guy, or some of you may, this guy's called Owen Cook, okay? And this guy used to run one of the largest, or the largest pretty much dating company, dating coaching company, okay? And this guy used to always say, you know, with like, if he goes out, his whole thing is like, yeah, if you go out and you know, socialize and you want to, you know, meet girls and just be out and have fun and be confident and this and that, then you want to have something called action-taking momentum from the moment that you leave your door, instead of excuse-making momentum. Now, this concept he obviously applied to his social dynamic stuff and whatnot, but that concept is actually very true in life, because every day you start and you go into a certain momentum, okay? And it's up to you which momentum that's going to be, because once you take a certain action, right, whether that's the excuse-making momentum or the action-taking momentum, the next one will be the next one will be easier to be, will be quicker to be the same, of the same nature. So if you just took an excuse-making action, next you're gonna make another excuse, right? So what he would always say kind of is like, yeah, if you go out to the bar, this and that, and then you're like, oh, you know, I see this pretty girl, but oh no, she's standing with a guy, so I'm gonna go to the next one. And then the next time it's like, oh, she's on the phone, busy, or whatever, right? And this idea, now you're in your head, and now you're excuse making, and now you're not in a good, proper momentum, and you're also not showing your subconscious mind that you're like, this is not really what he said, but to me, you're also not showing your subconscious mind. You're not showing yourself that you're out there being a boss, right? Because what boss, what fucking, you know, gangster type dude would be like, you know, like not following through on his own intentions. So once you start to really execute on all of your intentions, randomly your self-esteem starts to rise. And what's going to come with that? Randomly your income starts to rise. Okay, randomly you start being way more productive. Randomly people are suddenly more attracted to you, because you give off the vibe of a winner. You give off the vibe of someone who would increase their chances of survival subconsciously, right? That's all evolutionary psychology, where it's like, if someone behaves, right, like they view themselves very highly, right, then people pick up on that, and then they want to be around that person, because someone who views themselves highly is usually high, okay? And when that person is high status, that means it's the leader of the tribe. That means that you want to be with that person, because then you increase your chances of survival. And that's literally what attraction is. Attraction is value. Attraction is status. Status is value, right? So then, right, people feel that magnetic draw to you, because their brain makes them feel that, okay? Because they want, you're always pulled towards things. It's just like a cheesecake. Why are you attracted to a cheesecake? Not sexually, fellas. Why do you want to eat it, all right? Because I actually fucking hate cakes. I never eat cakes. Not even because of a health thing. I just don't like it. But I don't eat sugar anyway. So either way, look, cheesecake, why do you want to eat it? Because your subconscious, your reptile brain, right? The part of your brain that's the oldest, that part associates a lot of calories and a lot of sugar and whatever, right, to increasing your chances of survival. Why? Because for millions of years or thousands of whatever, there was limited resources, there was limited supply. So anytime that it was there, you wanted to stack up on that shit, right? And anything with a lot of calories, etc., you wanted to consume that as much as possible, because if you did, you could go without food for longer. So everything traces back to that evolutionary psychology. But anyway, getting back to the point, if you start viewing yourself differently, right? Now you're in an upward cycle. Actually, fucking talked about it in a video the other day. If you have your belief right here, right? Yeah, you can see that a little bit. If you have your belief right there, I'm just gonna do it in another color. This, you guys, is the feedback loop of success, is what I call this motherfucker right here. This is your belief, right? Right here. Your belief, but it's also your self-image, right? It's your belief about yourself or belief about what you're doing and what you're capable of and this and that. Okay, and a word to really summarize it is your identity. And when I say identity, I don't mean all that LGBTQ identity, he, she, they, it, whatever bullshit. That's not what this channel is about. But what I mean is how you view yourself, okay? And not that part of it. And then if you view yourself as someone who's highly capable, right? And so as someone who's productive, as someone who's, you know, a real winner, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take actions that, you know, align with that identity. Because we as humans will always follow, right? And act the way that we think and believe ourselves to be. Because if you don't, it gives a lot of friction. Why? Because as a human, you need to hold on to something, right? And you need to hold on to something that's familiar. And if you go outside of that, it's again dangerous for you, right? It's like a compass. Like it needs to, you know that the road, it's like a map. You know that the road there is familiar, so you want to go down there, right? And what's familiar is your identity, right? So that's why that's the thing, okay? And because your brain would rather go down a path that is familiar than go down that, but painful, familiar but painful, than to go down a path that is unfamiliar but potentially very pleasurable. Why? Because think of it, if you were a caveman, right? And you have two paths. Number one is like you always go down there. It's through the jungle. It's shitty. It's annoying. But you've gone down there 100 fucking times and you know it's safe. Okay, you know you're not. At least you're not going to die or starve or whatever. But it's very shitty and you're going to get stung and this and that, this and that. And then the other path, there's a new path randomly. Okay, it emerged, but it looks very, very. It looks promising, but at the same time, you really don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how long it's going to take before you find food, etc. Which path are you going to take? You're going to take the one that you know, right? It wasn't nice, wasn't pretty, but it was survivable. And that's what your brain optimizes for. It does not optimize to make you successful. It optimizes to make you survive, okay? And then also to reproduce, okay? Secondly, so 1, survive, 2, reproduce. And anything that creates these things, right? That increases the chances of these things, that's really valuable to your subconscious mind. That's why people always say they want this, but they really respond to this. They really are moved by this, okay? A great example of that is women, right? Women always say, I want the nice guy, I want this, I want that, right? And to be fair, to some extent they do, right? But like, what are they really moved by most often? It's the guy who actually doesn't really give a shit. Now, if that guy happens to also be nice, that's the perfect kind of combination, right? Which obviously that's me. I'm a very nice guy. But anyways, right? It's a perfect example of like consciously a person can really be like, yeah, this is exactly what I want. No, this is really what I want and I'm looking for this and this and that. But subconsciously, and they may or may not even be aware of that, they respond to something entirely different, right? And they may not even be aware of it themselves. So anyways, and some of them are, right? And some people are different and this and that. So it's generalizations, but largely that's the case. So people are just moved by value, largely in first instance, right? And then once you have established that you have value, right? And that doesn't mean, once again, it's just value in that relational context. It doesn't mean, oh, I have money, I have this, right? Value is a lot of things. We won't go into that in full depth in this video. But then obviously it's much more it weighs a lot more at that point if you're nice after that, okay? But anyway, getting back to the point, these are actions, right? And then if you take those actions, what kind of results are you gonna get? If you see yourself as a winner, right? And then you take those actions as a winner, and then you get results that embody, right? And that show that you're a winner, that reinforces the self-image and the identity of being a winner in the first place, okay? So it all starts with acting from a place of being a winner or being a rich person or a millionaire or being charismatic or being confident or being wanted or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve at this point, right? And then following your intentions on that, following those promises to yourself and following your intentions, because not always do you promise everything to yourself, right? But like your intentions throughout the day, you always know what, with every point where you have a little segue like this, right? You always know which one is the right one and which one is the wrong one, right? You always have kind of two choices. Like, okay, I should do this or I should do that. I should go and YouTube and research, or I should, and sometimes that is the right choice, but I should go on YouTube now, or I should make this presentation. I should take a sales call now, or I should do a mock call. You know, like you always know the right choice. If you start making the right choices, make the right choice, make the right fucking choice. Okay, take right action. If you just repeat that as a mantra to yourself, take right action throughout the day, then you're gonna do that a lot more and you're gonna get right results, okay? And so another thing, right? Like I had to sort out a visa, I'm naming the smallest things because the depth is really in the smallest things. I'm not gonna tell you like the time that I went to spar the fucking number 20, I think he's 25 now or something in the world at super welter, professional boxer that I went to spar with, or like other crazy shit, because that's usually, if we're honest with ourselves, if we're guys, right? Like usually those one crazy things, right? Where you did this crazy thing once, or like you climbed the fucking mountain or whatever it is that you did, okay? Those singular events, that's usually easier to do, right? I'll give you an example. Going into that cold plunge every other 2 weeks, when you go to the proper sauna or whatever, if that's something that you do like once a month or twice a month or whatever, it's not that special. What's actually way more special is like doing the cold shower every single morning, just when you wake up, when you really don't feel like it, okay? Yes, the cold shower is less bad, less uncomfortable than an ice plunge, but it's the fact that you did it every day, and that is also gonna mean that, you did it at points where you really didn't feel like it. Those mornings where it's really cold and you're just like, you really fucking don't wanna be in the cold and you still do it, that's when it means the most, right? When you want something, when you have the most resistance to do something, that's always when you get the biggest reward, okay? If you just think back of the times when there was something that you were really scared to do, or you really didn't want to do it or whatever, and you did it, you can just think of like the dopamine rush that you get after that, the pride that you feel. And that's also something you can optimize for, because most people optimize, and by the way, we all fall into this. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I try to catch myself and consciously interject and move myself from the left path over to the right path, okay? Okay, I'm going down the path of procrastination. I try to say, not that, this, right? And I try to take an action right away in this side, and I try to rebuild action-taking momentum, or I try to do something hard, like, once again, a cold shower, or, just a meditation, or what, it's not super hard, but, or a workout, or I say like, okay, I'm gonna clean my fucking shit up, or whatever it is, right? And then, or just a work task, whatever it is, do it right now, do it without thinking, and now I'm in an action-taking momentum again. Because actually most people really overestimate how hard it is to work, how hard it is to do a diet, how hard it is to go to the gym, because they associate to the pain it takes to get started, right? The first part. But actually, that doesn't last. Once you get through that first initial pain, even in an ice bath, the first 30 seconds is horrible, 40 seconds is horrible. But then you get very comfortable, and then after like 2 minutes, you get another rush of very great discomfort for like 30 seconds, and then it gets comfortable again. So people will jump out if they think that pain will last for 5 minutes, because they associate too much pain and they jump out. But if they already knew in their head, like that's not gonna be there for that much longer, then it would stay in, right? Because they associate less pain to the future and they can stay in that way, right? So anyways, that is something you can optimize for instead of, right, to finish the loop I was starting, because I'm so fucking sharp, I won't forget it. Instead of thinking, which is automatically your default program of your brain, of your reptile brain, it automatically thinks in every single moment, how can I save energy? How can I save time? How can I be most comfortable right now? Okay, so I'll give you the simplest example possible. If you grow up and walk through the house and your mom says, okay, you get this from the kitchen, right? And you have to get a bunch of shit and it's very difficult to carry all at once, but you optimize to save time and energy. And you try to carry all that shit at once, right? Just so that you don't have to walk twice, which would realistically, guys, what is the problem with walking twice, okay? Or walking up and down the stairs, whatever. Everybody has had that experience. That's why I'm naming that. Well, that just shows you what your brain optimizes for, okay? Because actually, it could arguably just be good to walk twice. A little bit of movement, buddy. Fucking hell, man, you lazy little cunt, okay? So, and I'm talking to myself. So anyways, it doesn't make any rational sense. Why do you still do it then? Because that's what your brain optimizes for. So if you can then interject and say, no, I'm just gonna bring this, then I'm gonna bring this, and I might just walk one time just for fun, okay? But that's just an analogy, right? Do it in all the ways and all those little things and bigger things where your brain automatically goes to that. And then what you can ask yourself instead, because that's the subconscious question that's being asked. If you have an answer or if you have a thought, a question was asked before that subconsciously, right? So your brain's default question is, how can I be comfortable? How can I save time and energy? What you can replace that shit with and drill it into your brain and condition it in, because everything in life is conditioning. You are not a static person, okay? You are simply the person that has been built by the experiences that you've gone through in your life up until now. So if you want to change that, it's very simple. You say, what am I now? That's through awareness, okay? I don't want that. I don't have to figure out why I'm that. I just don't want that. What do I want to be instead? And then operate from that mental stance, from that identity. It's like just like changing your physical stance. If you're doing a bench press like this, it's not going to go very well. Your buddy says do it like this. It's going to be like 2-3 times better. Now you're just training it. Now it's conditioning in. Now this is your new default. Now you bench a lot more. Same with the mental stance. Okay, physical stance, mental stance. Switch from insecurity to confidence. Then just do it over and over and over again. Fake it till you make it. Believe it till you achieve it. Whatever semantic little line you want to throw on it, it's all the same shit, okay? It doesn't really matter. People just try to say some shit because then they sound unique and they have something cool. But it's all the same stuff. You just have a program. It's a subconscious habit, essentially, that is just there. And if you build a new one that washes and you quit the old one, this will wash over the old one and now you're a new person. Very simple. But anyway, to finish the loop, because I still will not lay you down, I'll finish that loop. If you ask yourself instead, how would I be most proud of myself at the end of this day? Okay? How would I be most fulfilled at the end of this day? If you replace the initial question of how can I be most comfortable and happy right now with how can I be most proud and fulfilled, in myself and of myself at the end of this day, you're going to get completely different answers. But it's going to be quite difficult, right? Because you're going to have to really train this new questionnaire into your head and into your body and into your program. And so you have to do it over and over again. And that's really the key. Repetition. If you've ever heard these people that say, oh, self-development doesn't work, or like the gym doesn't work, whatever, everything in life is repetition, okay? Because as I said, we as humans, we are built on habits. And so you need to repeat things over and over and over again. But if you do it every single day like that, it only really has to take a couple of weeks, right? To really reprogram stuff. You can say affirmations to yourself. You can do the mental stance thing where you just live from that new identity. You can visualize those. But all of that is just kind of data and references of you being the person that you say you want to be. And it's references of that into your mind, right? And the more you have of that, it's like a weighing scale with rocks, right? On the one side is like, I am lazy. On the other side is I am proactive and take action. Okay, now it's like this, right? So the lazy one is heavier, and then you start taking rocks off and you start stacking rocks, okay? And now it goes like this, and now it's here, right? And from here on, it's your new default program, and it's gonna be very easy to just continue with this path. Now, if you start losing focus completely, then it will shift back because your brain does have a default towards this, but if you're momentum, it is easier to go there. Just like if you ask anyone who's like an athlete, I do boxing myself. If you want to check it out, you can add me on Instagram. It's @BoydHook. I'll leave it in the description. And by the way, if you want to, join a group and get a free training on this mindset stuff and join a group of like-minded individuals, then message me on Instagram, the word group, and I'll send you details on that as well. We have some free stuff there. And then additionally, if you, start going down this path more, you're going to get into a momentum, right? And then that is going to be easier to take that action. And that is what I started off this video with, right? So you have action taking momentum, excuse making momentum, and that applies to every single area of your life, okay? And so start following your intentions, executing on your intentions rather, because anytime, I can tell you this from experience, in multiple different, right, aspects of life, from the boxing gym to the club to the desk at work, right? If you limit executing on your intentions, instantly your self-esteem drops. Now, it may not like drop by much, but it does drop. And so the example that I gave of my friend, who had the big ass dating company, was like, yeah. The problem is, if you don't execute on your intention, then automatically your confidence drops, and your kind of swag drops, because obviously, what person that's cool would like limit themselves like that, right? So you're literally saying to yourself, non-verbally, I am low value, right? I don't believe in myself, whatever. Now, if that doesn't drop your self-esteem, I don't know what will, right? So you want to follow in your intentions and execute those. And then you want to control those bodily impulses that are not good for you. Because an impulse usually brings you down, because an impulse comes from that subconscious, right? Comes from that reptile brain, right? You can Google this, the reptile brain. It comes from that reptile brain, which has the pure function of making you survive and reproduce, and meaning that is usually going to give you bad life choices, right? So you want to control those, you want to execute those. And that's going to allow you to stay on a straight line from A to B. But you are always going to veer off that line a little bit. But instead of doing this and going all the way into Wawa land, this is, you guys, what a conversation with a woman looks like, a visual representation of it. You want to just stay right here. We here, right? We here. We go up, we go down, okay, we go a little bit into La La Land, but then we bring it right back to that motherfucking line. We stay on the line for a little, okay, we're done. It's like meditation, right? If you're sitting down, sit your fat ass down sometime and just focus on your breath. Nobody is going to be perfectly present for 10 minutes. But the idea is, do it with me for a second, right? Breathe in and breathe out, and just focus on your breath, on the feeling of your breath. And as you do that, your mind is going to scatter off the line of presence, right? It's going to scatter a little bit. And then, because you're meditating, and sometimes it's good to have an app that just gives you a bell every minute or something over the space of 10 minutes. And then you're like, oh shit, fuck. And then you bring it right back. You're like, okay, focus. And then like 30 seconds later, it goes off a little bit. You're like, oh shit, let me bring it right back. Goes off a little bit, right? So actually meditation is also a way for you to train to just stay on the straight line. So much of life is just staying on the straight line. Because actually, truthfully, success is not that complicated. It's definitely not easy, right? I didn't find it was easy, but it's also not that complicated, okay? Because if you have a goal, you don't even know, and you don't even understand how powerful your mind is, especially your subconscious mind. If you have just a goal, your subconscious is just going to give you answers. It's just going to give you shit, right? And then especially if you combine that with looking for the answers consciously, looking at data, this and that, it's not that complex. Like, okay, you want to build an online business, you're going to make content like this or other videos that we have on our other accounts, etc., running ads or whatever. You generate attention in a topic, okay? Then you have links to your website or whatever, and then people can book calls with you, and then you convert a certain percentage of those people, and then you make sure that it all happens at a decent rate. And that's really like, then, for example, an online business, right? Now, I'm not saying business is not complex. It's definitely not super simple, but it's reasonable, it's doable. But usually people just struggle much more because, and this was also myself a lot, and obviously continue to do so. Continue to struggle at points where you're like, okay, shit, I got to bring them back here. And it's usually because of personal problems, mental problems, etc., that manifest into your business, okay? And that allow you not to stay on that straight line because of a self-image issue, right? Or because of like you not following on your intentions, right? Or because of you getting weird thoughts of like, oh, I should be doing some other shit. And now you're bouncing. Now the grass is on the green on the other side and some bullshit, right? And now, fucking hell, all of a sudden, you're starting from zero in a different business. And then 6 months later, you're like, what the fuck? Where did all this time go? Okay, and I'm talking from experience, you guys. I'm just trying to share genuinely in these videos, like, yo, this is shit that really helped me back and really cost me millions. And I made a couple million even before I was like 21, okay? I always put the screenshots and all this and that, if I remember with editing this video, because I barely edit these things. I don't put it up there, but otherwise you can see it in different videos. But anyways, even with that said, and with that done, I still lost millions and millions and millions because of just mental shit, okay? Just because of me being in my own way, right? And so I know, also from a lot of friends of mine, right? I have a lot of very, very successful entrepreneur friends, and also in different fields, professional boxers, okay? People who are very successful socially, whatever. It's always you that's just in your own way. And so with these videos, I try to, damn, nearly fucking broke that thing. I try to help you out a little bit with the things that help me out. So with that being said, I hope this did that for you. And as I said, you can shoot me a quick DM on Instagram. I look at it personally. Nobody else is in my account, my personal one at least. I have a business one as well. But shoot me a DM, we'll talk. And I hope you enjoyed it, brother. And I'll see you in the next one.